Welcome to the Entertainment Audio Show with Jordan and Lane. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Lane.
Sorry about the lack of a Halloween special, which we kind of hyped up a bit on our last episode. Life got in the way.
Again. Like, you didn't have a voice last week, right?
I did not have a voice at all, because I know the day we were supposed to record, I text Lane and I'm like, hey, words are not coming out of my head.
Currently dying. No.
So yeah, and then things have been really busy since then. So it's also why this episode is going to be a little late, getting out there to the world.
Because also now I'm not feeling great, so this is going to be fun to record.
Oh, you gotta love this time of year, right? Allergies, sinuses, weather changes, all the good things. We do appreciate you for being here, though, and, even through the struggles known as life. But let's get started.
All right. So first up, we got our spoiler-free section. It's
gonna be a lot more in here than the other side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of. So we've got our spoiler-free, and then we just had an event this weekend that went on in Brazil. I want to talk about that a little bit. And then I think our trailers and tidbits is going to be the largest section.
I think it is. With all the crazy things called life, we didn't really get a chance to, at least I didn't get a chance to see as much as I would have liked for this episode.
But knowing this and knowing what's coming in November, I'm super pumped.
Yeah.
For everything going on. And then we got some stuff. And then we've got the Christmas special coming up. That one
will happen.
Like tooth and nail to get that to happen.
That one
I
will
be dressed in red and green.
happen.
That episode is my baby. I've already been planning that one for 2 months. Like, I started listening.
Wait, to be completely honest, you've been planning that episode since this podcast had a name. Okay. Before this podcast even had a name.
I wasn't going to say that because that's been like at least December of last year or like January or something like that.
When the planning phases of this podcast started, there was
the first
what should we talk about? And then you were like, by the way, we're doing a Christmas special.
Yeah, I didn't give you a choice. Like, this is happening. Like,
and this will probably happen every year.
Oh, most definitely.
Or else
my lists may change.
It'll be like if we try to contain you to one episode of Christmas, it'll be like a 7-hour episode.
Most definitely. Well, specifically this one, because this is the first year. So there will be things that I'm going to try to contain myself, but we'll go over like favorite Christmas specials, movies, and talk about the recent Christmas movies. Like this year, I'm going to get to talk about Red One. We'll get to that in a few minutes, or in a bit. But I get to talk about that one. I get to talk about my favorite Christmas movie of all time. And then I actually have a debate I want to have with you.
We did this. I think this was on an early podcast episode that we hinted at this.
We did. And I want to have, I think we might have even talked about it, but just in case we didn't, I want to bring it back up and say, I want to have this debate with you over this. And I'm very excited about that because I know that we're on different points of view of that one. So that's going to be an insane conversation. There's a chance, and we might have, this is going to be so insane, we might have to actually do a part 1 and part 2. I'm going to admit it now. There's a chance that we're going to have 2 episodes released, like, a day apart, where one is the first half, and then the second is the second half. Or it might just be like 2 episodes released simultaneously or something like that.
We might spread it out a little bit for anticipation.
Well, I don't think my anticipation will be able to handle that. But we'll figure that out.
We'll record it at the same time. But
yes, most definitely. But I'm going to be excited to share it. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not so much talking about the anticipation of other people. I'm talking about me bouncing up and down in my seat going, I gotta share. And I know that's coming. But anyway, okay. So back to what's at hand. Um, did you get a chance? I think you're the one that told me about this, and I got to watch it. And I don't know if you did. The Tomb Raider series.
I did not. I did not get a chance because I found out. I found out this was happening. I didn't realize it had released until I looked at our outline.
Oh, really?
I did because I texted you about it. I feel like not that long ago.
You texted me the day it came out.
Was it the day it came out?
That was the day it came out.
Dude, I didn't even know that. I thought
Yeah,
it
you
was just got
texted me.
announced.
I went and turned it on. Like,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I
yeah,
didn't know it was out until
dude, it's so good.
right now, Jordan.
Words, English. No, it
But
is
you watched it.
actually surprisingly good. I really like it. Now, celebrity crush is Haley Atwell, but it's very much just like it's her in a completely different light, and I love that. And
Haley Atwell in a different light.
yes,
Okay,
is that what I said? Not
you
what I
said
said.
her. You said her, and I didn't know if you were
Well, I
talking
meant
about
Haley Atwell in a completely
Haley
different
or the
light.
character.
I mean, because she's at this point, she's not relying on the physical. Because it's interesting sometimes to see when an actor becomes a voice actor or an actress becomes a voice actress. Because when you're an actor, and speaking from like I went to film school and stuff, speaking, I know I've mentioned that before. Um, when you're filming something with a camera in your face, it's so different than stage acting, and it's so different than voice acting. So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting to see her hit both. I always love seeing actors and actresses that jump the medium. They go from the physical to the animation, or the physical to the just the voice, and to hear like how they're adapting and maybe adapting better than say like someone coming off the street would. But sometimes they don't, and it's interesting to hear the differences. And I think in this particular show, she really, really did extremely well in bringing her natural like tonality and her natural like voice to this character to the point I did not struggle separating her from the character. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
It does, and that actually brings up an interesting question that I have for you now.
Okay.
Did you feel or see or hear a difference in her voice acting in this show compared to her early voice acting work in What If?
I feel like there was a difference because
Okay.
now don't get me wrong, the difference to me in my mind is a very simple one. The characters that she was playing in What If were essentially animated versions of a character she's already portrayed. So we know how the character is going to react to things. We know how characters are going to have certain phrases and certain sentences that they use and certain slang that they use. Where when it when she jumps into this role, it's so different because she has not done this character in live action. So I didn't know what to expect from this. And it's almost a slightly different it's a different take on the character in general. And it's not a story that I've personally seen before. No, it's a Laura Croft Tomb Raider story, but it's different enough to catch my interest and to hold it.
Okay.
I think
So that's
I
enough.
binged I think I binged the entire 8 episodes in like a weekend.
Okay. So actually, I had another question about it, and I think you may have answered it a little bit there. Is this a like separate story from the other things we've had in the Tomb Raider franchise?
Speaking from my personal like viewing of them, yes.
Okay, so
Like
it's
it's
like
of
not
course
related to the one that came out a
it's
few
super
years
super
ago,
similar. No, this is a standalone thing.
not related to the games or any of
No,
the movies. That's
no,
cool.
because they actually spend the first couple of episodes building the character as though you've never seen the character before. It's
Okay.
not, they're not relying on, this was something I really, really like, because I think, don't quote me on this, because I haven't seen everything to do with Tomb Raider. I haven't. I'm not going to pretend to. But she definitely, whoa, sorry. I got massively confused for a second. I
Oh,
just learned something else we'll get back to. That's an interesting turn of events. Um, for those that are wondering, I have the IMDb. Whenever we talk about a movie, I typically pull up the IMDb and I will like look through it for information that I might be overlooking. I'll look at the pictures to see if there's anything that I feel like I need to say or anything that to that degree. And I was looking through the cast list, and I was very surprised by one of the names in the cast list.
oh,
Like, ridiculously surprised. But that will come into play in something else we're going to talk about in a little while. In the trailers and tidbits section, actually, we'll come back to that. So I find that particularly with this series, it's very much you're getting to know this version of Tomb Raider. It is
okay.
different. It is. It is. I've not seen this one before. Granted, again, I've not played all the games. I've not done all the things. Um, but it is interesting to see this play. And I know that they did a series a few years ago called "Where in the World is Carmen San Diego?" They brought that back for a bit, and they did a short series on that. That one I think was more geared towards kids and families.
Hmm.
This one is more geared towards young adults to adults. And I think that would have worked better if they had geared it more towards young adults than adults. The people that grew up looking for Carmen San Diego.
Right.
Huh,
Mm.
sorry.
Mm. So I pulled it up on IMDb because again I haven't watched it. That's one to see like the cast list. Some names on there that I think I saw the one you thought of. But I also was scrolling by and I saw one of the episode descriptions and I saw something that was really interesting to me.
To ask,
The what?
I'm curious if you want. Oh, hello. There's two names. Um.
Um, I don't know if this is a spoiler,
Oh.
but if you're on IMDb, if you scroll to like the the episodes tab, it's in episode 8.
Am I overlooking? Oh,
Sorry,
episode 12.
everybody. Sorry. As you can tell, we didn't talk about this ahead of time.
No, we did not, which is fine.
But there's a name of a
Uh.
mountain
Okay.
in
No.
episode 8.
No. Um. It's interesting because I think it's just a reused name.
Okay. Well, I feel
It
like it wasn't tied to that, but it is really interesting. I guess it's a real
it
place.
it is, and that's why they're using it. That's all it is. It's not. There's no ties to what you're thinking.
You know
And
what
if
I'm thinking
we
of.
could talk about it, yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking of. And no,
So
it
what we
is
should
no
do,
tie.
I guess what we should do, I should watch this show
You definitely should.
just because, for one, because it's good, but secondly, so we could talk about this. Not that
Oh
particularly,
yeah,
but we could talk about this a bit more.
yeah. And I can quickly mention it when we get to spoiler section, but not like super spoiler like we normally do. Just
Okay.
that particular thing. I can tell you what I'm thinking, or what I'm thinking you're thinking. Anyway, granted, that is if I remember to think about what you're thinking about when I'm thinking about it. My brain hurts. Anyway, but then there were like, so there was that, and then I think I don't remember what streaming service this one was on.
This is on Netflix,
So
I
my top two
think.
things were Netflix. Yep, Netflix. This
Because
one
I
was
actually, I think I texted you about this a while ago when the trailer came out.
yeah. It's
and
interesting.
but I haven't got a chance to watch it.
So, to be spoiler free, it's a Mark Wahlberg film. It's a turn your brain off and enjoy it type of film to me.
Should we tell him what it is?
The Union.
I
Sorry,
was
my
like,
bad.
I didn't know if you were like gearing up for some kind
No,
of big
no, no,
reveal.
no. It's just the Union. No, it's the one with Halle Berry and not
J.K.
Halle
Simmons.
Berry, but Halle Berry. Sorry, that's a terrible joke. Um, but yeah, it's the one with Halle Berry and uh
J.K. Simmons is in it too, right?
J.K. Simmons. Yeah, and he plays a really cool character in my opinion. There's actually some really cool actors and actresses in it. Like I was actually kind of surprised, and there
Who's
was
that?
some interesting like Mike Coulter's in it too, and he played oh what's his name, Luke Cage.
Oh, is that Mike Coulter?
Yeah, Mike
Oh
Coulter.
wow.
Yes, he's in it. I'm not going to say anything about his character, but it's interesting to see how these characters interact with each other. It's actually super fun, and they explain. And I like how you don't get a grasp of what the Union is. Honestly, at least I didn't see any trailers that told you what the Union was. It it's other than a like secret agency or whatever. But in this movie, they actually give a really cool reason for the name, which is something that I really appreciated. There's like actually a legitimate reason for the name, the Union. It wasn't just like a weird kind of one off thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a legitimate reason for that name's existence. Which lately I feel like it's been the other way around, where they just kind of make up stuff and they go, "Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it." Okay, but yeah, so
Okay.
it's worth watching. At least it's like I would say that one's worth watching if you've got the time and you're bored out of your mind.
Okay.
It's not worth going out of your way. But if you're gonna watch something and you don't know what to watch, it's a fun one. It's just a fun one with some interesting storytelling and a lot of really fun comedy in it. Um, which is a little surprising, honestly, for what it is. But yeah, it's like I said, yeah. And I'll stop rambling now. But like even like you can't look at its rating, because its rating is one of those things that's like people are gonna rate it for what it is. And
Right.
it and Tomb Raider both have a 5.4. And I personally think Tomb Raider deserves a lot higher than that.
Do you think the Union deserves higher
No,
than that?
no, I don't. I'm going to be honest with you, for what
That's
it
a,
is. Now,
that's about
if you're looking at it as a like turn your brain off and enjoy it kind of movie, then yes, I feel like it deserves a little bit higher. But it has its flaws. I'll say that they both have their flaws, but I feel like the Union has a lot more flaws than the Tomb Raider series.
okay. I
Uh,
also kind of feel that same way about this next movie.
Okay,
I've talked about this already.
yes, but in a non-spoiler way. So we're gonna get to talk about it in a non-spoiler and a spoiler way today. I've been so looking forward to this one.
Yeah, 'cause this was a movie that
Argyle.
we both went into. Oh yeah, Argyle. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Uh,
Sorry.
I know this is a movie we both started the year very excited for. I saw it when it came out in February, so I'm going to see how much I remember when we get around to talking about it in spoiler free or spoiler filled.
Do you
And
remember whether or not you enjoyed it?
I did like it. I did like it. I did have a couple qualms with the movie. Um,
That I'm looking forward to those. I'm looking forward to hearing those because that's gonna be interesting to talk about.
yeah, well, there's one in particular, but we'll talk about that later. Um, It's not really a spoiler for the movie, though. I can technically talk about it now. But let's see. You just saw it. You're more fresh than I am. What did you think?
I
Non-spoiler.
actually really enjoyed it. I had to stop it and finish it later. But the thing is, I also saw some online chatter before I got to watch it. And while nothing was fully spoiled, I expected the twist.
Which one?
Exactly. Kind of, I can't say it without spoiling things.
I feel like what I just said is kind of a spoiler.
I don't know. Because to me, it's really not. So I'm going to hold all of that information in. I'll just say that I actually really enjoyed that film. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was another get it, turn your brain off and enjoy type film. I
Yeah,
couldn't really take it super seriously.
I give you that. I give you that. And non-spoiler type, we can both agree. We both kind of hinted at it a little bit before. We both agree the cast does a great job. Sam Rockwell is awesome in this movie.
Yes, I will.
Sam Rockwell is usually
1,000%.
great in things, but I feel like he really supported this movie.
I'm gonna say it again. Before we started, because we talked about Sam Rockwell a little bit, and I'm gonna say it because if I don't get to write it, I want somebody else to. I want to see a film with Sam Rockwell and Gary Oldman together.
You did, because he
As
went on it. He wrote a whole script in our pre-show talk.
I just want to see them in a script together, but I want them playing actors. I'm not gonna go off on the full thing, but essentially, I want them playing an actor. I want them each playing actors in a real life situation, not in a movie situation. But I want them to basically play themselves. Like I want Gary Oldman to play Gary Oldman as an actor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I gotcha.
And for those at home that are completely lost, I'm talking about in a I haven't seen my example fully. I've seen bits and pieces of it because of YouTube and stuff. But Tropic Thunder, where they play actors in movies, and they end up in a real life situation on accident. That's what I want to see from Gary Oldman and Sam Rockwell. But I want them to go the entire movie without figuring out that they're in the real life situation.
Right.
I
right.
want them
And
thinking it's the movie from beginning to end because to me that would be so much funnier. Especially at the
yeah,
end of the movie, somebody yells like they find them and they're like, "Hey, where have you been? We need the film." And they're thinking they're talking about reshoots. So then they film the actual movie, and so the two of
yeah,
them are never ever aware.
yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm not gonna go on that full rant again.
It is kind of
But
funny though that you say that because that is to a small degree kind of the story of Argyle.
a little bit. So I'm gonna stop saying something before spoilers. But yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Now, whew, sorry, I'm not feeling too well. Was there anything else you wanted to mention spoiler free about Argyle?
Uh, I don't think there's much I can talk about without spoiling at this point that I can remember.
All right. Well, then we will definitely come back to that in a bit. Um,
Now, this next movie, you were surprised to hear I hadn't seen this yet.
yes, because normally you're the one that always sees it before I do.
Because when it comes to Marvel movies, I'm usually, if not an opening nighter, I'm an opening weekender.
Yeah.
And this movie's been out for like a week now.
I don't know how long. Let me
It
look it up.
hasn't been too long.
I thought
But we're
it's been a
talking about
couple of weeks though.
it may be. I've lost track of time in reality at this point. Uh, we're talking about Venom: The Last
Okay.
Dance, the third movie in the Venom franchise. Depending on where you sit on things, the sixth movie in the Sony superhero franchise of Marvel characters, or whatever that thing's called.
It has been 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks. Okay.
Sorry,
But yeah, I
it
have.
was gonna literally bug me if I didn't look it up.
So
All right.
I have not had a chance to see Venom: The Last Dance yet. You have. What did you think?
As someone that really did not completely enjoy the first two, I
Okay,
really enjoyed the third one.
that's that actually makes me feel really good because I do enjoy the first two. I like the first one
Yeah,
better. But the first one is a better movie than the second one. But if you didn't enjoy the first two, but you enjoyed that one, that actually makes me feel pretty confident that I probably will enjoy this movie quite a bit.
I definitely feel like you'll definitely enjoy it, but you may not actually enjoy it as much as you liked the first two. Because I'm seeing a lot of that in the reviews,
Okay,
where like people that love the first two, they like this one, but it's just not their favorite. People that didn't really like the first two love this one because I think it's a little different, and it's different enough that I don't know. It's different enough to make you stop and go, okay, cool, I can get into this.
okay.
I will say I definitely like it more than the second one by
All
like
right,
a long shot.
that's fair, and I feel like most people will probably agree with that. People that that do enjoy the Venom movies, probably most people would say the second one is the weaker of the movies. Um, I will say something interesting though. I haven't seen much of really any online conversations about this movie.
Really?
I have not seen any of it, and part of me was like worried because I'm like, people aren't talking about this movie. That's almost worse than people hating the movie.
That's why I'm surprised because it's funny because you say that because I actually have seen stuff, which is so weird.
And
Because normally it's literally the other way around, where you see all the things and I see nothing.
well, watch like the world, like everything shift when I do finally see it, and my phone can hear me talking about the movie. It starts giving me everything.
Yep. Now is when you're going to start seeing all of the reviews.
Is it all right? Me bring up this question then. Is it one of the things where I should actively avoid trying to see spoilers?
No,
Okay, so there's nothing
it ain't.
huge.
It ain't worth it. I'm going to be honest with you.
All right, so I'm gonna try to
It's
see it. I think on Saturday.
yeah. Then you'll be fine. I've literally seen the interviews and stuff, and nothing is said.
Well, I meant like,
It
well, I didn't like interviews and what and things like that, but like where people are literally talking about like what happens at the end of the movie, or if there's a thing that happens. Like, is there stuff I should be looking out for to try to avoid? But
I'll say this: if you see somebody talking about the movie, avoid it, but don't go out of your way to avoid it. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah.
Like if you're on Facebook or on social media or whatever, and you see something about it, just scroll past it. Don't don't go into your full before a Marvel movie, blinders on. Don't even talk to your buddy Lane
I feel like it's
about
been 2.5 weeks at this point. I think I'd it'd be a little late to go on a social media blackout.
yeah. So
um,
then again, the phone is listening. Okay. Um, but yeah,
I did.
so I
I
think
have
you're
seen one
good.
thing about it though, and apparently it
What's that?
is making bank overseas.
That does not surprise me actually.
it,
That does
it's
not surprise me because it's got some good names in it. It's a
it's
big
making decent
Hollywood name.
money. It's making decent money here in the states. Uh, but man, it's like pulling. It's like getting close to cracking the top 10 in the worldwide box office already.
All right, I'm gonna send you one singular message. It's not a spoiler by any means, but I think it's hilarious when you think about this concept. I'm gonna text it to you or Discord it to you. So give me 1 second. But it gives it's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's really not.
I feel like you're trying to like build me up for me not to like hurt you if
I
you
don't want you
spoil
mad at
something.
me. I don't want you mad at me. Um, do you see my message?
Oh, it's gonna be on here.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be on Discord. I can text you if I need to, but the thing about it is, this is somebody I saw
Oh,
this.
okay. So I
This
saw
probably
I saw this discourse when set pictures started coming out.
okay. So can I say it, or do you think I
Yeah,
should wait?
I think you should be okay.
One of my favorite things. I didn't see this till after I saw the movie. One of my favorite things is there's a comment in the movie where he talks about how it's their 1 year anniversary, and everybody in the after the movie is going, "It's only been a year. Have you seen Tom Hardy? He has been through a lot in a year." And actually, no, it's not. So I typed to you that it was a lot. It was a year since the last movie. That's not correct. It's only been a year since the beginning of the first movie. My
Oh
bad.
wow.
So, because they literally have only been together for a year, which makes it so funny. The fact that they did not dye his hair. Because as someone that has a lot of stress, I'm starting to get gray hairs and white hairs. So to me, it's even funnier the idea that you look at Tom Hardy in the first movies, black hair, clean shaven, whatever. You get to this movie, beard that's gray, gray in the hair. He's a little bit more buff, like muscular, but also a little bit bigger. So it's really, really funny to see that all of this has happened in a year. That Venom has caused him so much stress, he's turning into Santa Claus in a year span. And that's the funniest thing to me. Not so much a spoiler. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I don't feel like it's a teeny tiny like ounce of a spoiler. But even like I've seen some other things, like some discourse that before the movie came out about some things that I will say this, I'm actually very proud of Sony in this instance because there was a bit of discourse that I can talk about once you've seen the movie that they actually people were freaking out when the trailer came out because they thought one thing and then Sony did something completely different. Now, whether they went back and refilmed something to fix it, I don't know. But I don't think they did. I think it worked out the way that they wanted to work it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited to see this movie. Like I said, I'm gonna try to see it on Saturday. I kind of have my days off kind of stacked up with movies. I haven't been to a movie theater in a while. Actually, next movie we're gonna talk about is the last one I saw, and that was early, few weeks ago.
So yeah. So do you want to bring up that movie?
Yeah, we can. So as everybody knows, I'm gonna kind of start with this. Everybody knows I live in around Orlando, Florida, and we had a hurricane come through, Hurricane Milton, and one of the days that we were kind of getting ready for that hurricane, my mom was down here visiting, and she's like, "Well, when we have some time, we're gonna go to a movie. We're gonna see The Forge, which is a new Kendrick Brothers movie, which is a studio of um, mostly um, Christian movies with a more uplifting kind of what's I can't forget the word I'm looking for,
They've
kind of
got the
message,
spiritual message
spiritual message, and like
and
a
very, very much faith based message.
yeah, like an overcomer kind of thing. I
Yeah,
think one of their movies is called Overcomer. Um,
I think so.
so yeah, so we went and saw it while we had a chance, and I actually really like this movie, man.
And I've been meaning to see it. I just hadn't been around to see it. Now, for those that are curious, yes, we in fact both are Christians. If we haven't mentioned that 47,000 times. Um, so, and I'm actually really excited because there's when we get to the tidbits and trailers, um, I'm super excited to talk about one of the things that's faith based there. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
and I know that this movie didn't stay out in theaters very long, especially and like you said, your theater has what, four screens?
4 screens.
Four screens,
I don't
so
even think it came here. I don't even
I
think it
don't even
came
think
here.
it would have released because it released around the same time as some some of the bigger movies.
Ooh, they got to get their timing right. Now, I will say, like, they tend to do really well on like streaming services
And
and stuff
DVD
like that.
sales.
Now, let me ask you this: have you seen any like their other projects?
I have.
Like, I
I
haven't
have.
seen one of their projects in a few years.
It's
I
been a
think the
while for
last
me
one I saw
too.
was War Room.
I think that would have been the last one I saw too.
So that's been a bit. So comparatively, do you feel like they're getting better as storytellers and as filmmakers?
Uh I feel like for the story they're trying to tell, yes.
Okay.
If that makes
That's
any
been the
sense.
thing is I've seen all the way back to Flywheel, which I think was their first feature.
I think, was it Flywheel or was
And
it Facing the Giants?
no, it was Flywheel because Flywheel came before Facing the Giants. I
Okay.
feel like there was a huge jump between Facing the Giant or between Flywheel and Facing the Giants. They fixed a lot of technical things between those two.
Well, I think around
And
that same
then
time is when they got the deal with Sony.
I didn't know they had a deal with Sony.
I'm pretty sure they have a deal with Sony for distribution rights, and I feel like with that comes a budgetary increase.
Oh, most definitely. Especially if they're not having to distribute themselves as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Sony
So
Pictures
I feel like the
distributes the
first one was
movie.
probably distributed. Now I don't know this for sure. Now I will say this: I've met one of them, and he was really really nice down to earth. What I love about them is that I think I've said this to you, and I know I've said this to other people. I feel like there's a difference between a Christian filmmaker and a filmmaker that's a Christian,
Yeah, yeah.
wherein like you have things like I can't even think of some of the stuff. I can't even think, but like you've got some movies that are clearly made because someone thought there was a gap in the market, and so they made
Hmm.
the film specifically to fill that singular gap. And so it's like a B movie at best. But then you have movies like Facing the Giants that had a big cult following is the wrong word, but a big following, and then Fireproof and War Room and now The Forge, and their other films, and then you've also got series like The Chosen, which again we'll talk about that in a little while. But you've got your. I feel like the Kendrick brothers are the guys that they started off as Christian filmmakers, but they've taken it upon themselves to learn the craft and get better at the craft, and they've become filmmakers who are Christian and do Christian projects. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, so that's why I'm really looking forward to their stuff. But yeah, so but I wanted to ask, was there any other thing? Because at this point, that's kind of all we had for spoiler free, right? Was there anything else that
Yes.
you wanted to talk about?
Not that
'Cause,
I can think of. Well, actually,
we'll
there's one
say,
little thing. There's one little
oh,
thing I know you see I haven't had a chance to watch yet. Um,
oh,
and it brings up a question I wanted to ask you, and I forgot to bring it up for this. It's not even on the outline. Um, were you a Disney Channel kid?
I very much was.
Did you watch Wizards of Waverly Place?
I did.
So recently, the sequel series, Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, has started. It's airing on Disney Channel, and then I think like half the season is already on Disney Plus, and the next half's coming later. You have not got a chance to see any of this right yet, right?
I have not. No, I need to.
Okay.
But I've been nervous
Uh,
to.
Me and my brother, we started it. We watched like half the episode that were on there. We haven't had a chance to sit down together and watch it because that's one of the reasons why a lot of these things haven't been on here, so we want to watch them together. Um, but me tell you, I actually really enjoyed the episodes we watched.
Really? Okay. Does it feel like the original show, or does it just feel like a spinoff?
If I say yes, would that make sense?
Yeah, actually, it makes perfect sense
Because it
because it
does
feels like they're not
have
trying to
the it
like
does
maybe
have
that
the
they're
feel. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say like something along the lines of they're not trying to be the original show, but there's enough callbacks to bring in the old audience.
Yes.
And yes, unfortunately, I do mean old audience.
Well, yeah, because I think that original show started in like what 2003. I think I was in middle school when that show started.
I don't know, man. I
Um,
feel old.
but the show feels like a natural sequel,
Really?
and they actually found a way to make it somewhat. They they found a way to start the show in which
Oh,
there's a little
no.
bit more
Tell
of
me.
a um because they could have easily have just I don't want to know how to say this without spoiling things. um, they could have easily just picked up where they left off. But they did find an interesting way to put a
Sure.
a different little story in there that kind of blocks the pathway originally. If any of this makes sense,
I
any of
think
that
so.
makes sense.
Not really.
There's a certain word I'm looking for, and my brain's not giving it to me.
Don't you just
um,
love that?
yeah. But there's a certain thing in there that a lot of people were questioning why did they do that, and then I was watching it. I'm like, oh no, this gets you a separate little thing we can do, a little story we can tell that gets us going, so we can you know have more story to tell. We can go longer with it, um, but it actually fits. It feels right in my opinion.
Okay. I'm gonna have to watch it. I might watch some of it tonight while I'm laying down. I'm trying not to be
Hey,
sick.
hey man, 25 minute episodes. I think there's last I looked when we were watching, there's 9 episodes. Mm, unless they've put the rest of the season up there.
I'm pulling it up right now. Like I'm actively. Uh, what?
So
No.
I guess
So, oh, the next episode looks like the next episode is November 22nd.
okay. That
According to IMDb.
the
Why is there a huge gap?
distribution. So the distribution's been really interesting because I think they're airing weekly on Disney Channel. But the day after the premiere
Oh,
of the first episode, they put the first 9 episodes up,
I got you.
and that
When
might
you
be
click on
when
the
they.
IMDb, it says 21 episodes. And I'm just like, excuse me?
So I don't know
Looks like we're,
exactly what their distribution method is for Disney Plus. Um,
according to this, like they released all 9 episodes on October 30th, and then we're getting the next episode on the 22nd. Then it's, oh gosh, no, this makes no sense. Because then it looks like it's two every week.
okay. I
Maybe,
will say this is a less confusing or less frustrating release method than they're doing for the final season of Cobra Kai on Netflix. The
that
fact
makes
they're
sense.
releasing it in 3 parts that are like 6 months apart.
Oh gosh. There's
At
other
that
shows based
point,
on that. I'm not gonna mention the show, but there's an animated show that's an adult. It's meant for like not kids. Um, but it's meant for like young adults and above. And that's what they've been doing every year. Is like they've been doing. I don't really want to say the name of it, but there's like a 6 month gap, a 3 month gap, or something like that,
I
halfway
know
in
what
the
you're
middle
talking
of
about.
the
I know what
season.
you're talking about.
And then they made a joke about it in a trailer I saw recently. And they said, "Yeah, we're not doing that this year." Good, thank you. I think it starts in February and goes all the way to the end of the season.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious that Netflix was like people were berating Netflix to release their big shows weekly like Disney Plus does, so they can like there could be a discourse and a conversation throughout the week before the next episode comes out.
Yeah.
And their answer to that was releasing the seasons in parts like 6 months apart. I guarantee you they're probably going to do the same thing for Stranger Things.
I don't want to. I'm not into that, so I'm going to stay away from that.
I like Stranger Things a
like
lot.
something I would actually get into, and I don't want to get into any more stuff because I already pay for like way too many streaming services and stuff. So, anyway, on that note, though, I know we've been talking for close to an hour at this point, I think.
I thought it was going to be a short episode.
So did I. Oh, no, this is 46 minutes. My apologies. But still.
Well, it's heavily front-loaded. I'll give it that.
That's true. That's true. But then we also have when we get to, so there's an event that happened this weekend. Once we talk about that, then we do our trailers and tidbits. I think our trailers and tidbits is actually more loaded than our spoiler free, so we're gonna have to be careful.
Well, spoiler filled is very, very much not full, so this evens us out.
5 minutes. Watch, it'll be the longest. So because you didn't get to see anything coming out of this because you were at work.
I didn't know this was even happening.
I knew for about a week, I think, maybe 2 weeks, but I keep forgetting it because it's not an American-based con. So D23 Brazil happened, and I feel like it didn't get the coverage that D23 in the United States did because people were thinking, rightfully so, that a lot of the stuff coming out was just going to be rehashed in Portuguese.
Yeah,
which they kind of did do that,
and it wasn't a huge like D23 happened in August.
Yeah, something like that.
So it hasn't been that long since we've had one, the big one. So like, what else could they have to talk about, kind of thing?
Exactly. So that's where that's coming from. However, I was pleasantly surprised that they actually did release stuff because I was actually able. I of course couldn't be there because I have no money, but I was able to watch like X and other social medias, X formerly known as Twitter, and other social medias to like get an idea. And I even like went on Google and started watching like the news and type D23 Brazil just to see what was coming out. And they made a lot of interesting announcements and added to previously done announcements, such as one thing that I'm really looking forward to is I love the Avatar series, not Aang and the Fire Nation, Blue Pocahontas series. I genuinely enjoy that franchise. And so my description.
It took me a second for that to sink in.
It's not wrong, which is the thing. It's Blue Pocahontas.
It is. And Pocahontas, Dance with Wolves, and yeah.
And all the other ripped movies and stories.
That story is literally like Seven Samurais, but not.
It's like Treasure Island. It's used in everything, and changed. One of my favorite movies of all time is the rehab of Treasure Island, but in space, Treasure Planet. I watched that this week.
Underrated Disney movie
by far. I want a live action so bad, and I was talking to my brother about that. Just as a little side note, I was talking to my brother about that. We were talking about fan castings, and I have my fan cast for that, and I would love to have that conversation with you. And I feel like maybe we should do a themed episode 1 month where we talk about any animation projects that we feel like need live action adaptations, and we talk about our fan castings for those. I feel like that would be fun. But just as like an idea, I'm gonna say this. Now, the person that I have picked for at least mentally, the person that I have picked for add that to the Brazil.
Well, this is something that wasn't talked about at Brazil. We can bring it up.
Talked about in Brazil.
It was, but the thing I want to talk about is not. No, that's
Okay,
not what I wanted to say.
those
That's the
I'm
wrong
not
thing.
gonna say. Sorry, guys. We're talking about he's typing something on
That's actually not what I wanted to
Telegram
type.
tidbits.
That's what I want to type.
Oh, oh, then yeah, that's fine. But I want to talk about the other thing.
Yeah, we'll put that in trailer
Huh?
tidbit right here.
We'll talk about the second part of that in a second. I'm very confused by that. But I'm very very excited. But then back to the Avatar. Oh, I was gonna say this. Cole Sprouse at one point, I was like, oh, he would be good at um Jim Hawkins, and then I was like, oh, maybe not, because
I
I
think
feel
he
like
kind of
Cole
aged.
Sprouse would do better. But now he's reaching that point where I think he would be good at Milo Thatch from Atlanta.
I could see that.
Like I can picture because he did a Halloween costume one year of him doing that,
He did.
and I loved it. I was like, this needs to be a thing. And I had a fan casting for Jim Hawkins, and now for the life of me, I cannot remember. But I was gonna say this: John Goodman is John Silver,
I
even with all
love that.
the like, even with the weight loss, especially with the weight loss,
I
because I
I
can just
I love that.
fully picture that, and that's literally who I pictured. And I think I even told my brother, and my brother, like, who doesn't know actors, goes, "I know who that is." Yes, so that's kind of my fan cast for John Silver specifically. I feel like Jim Hawkins, you could get away with like Tom Holland or something like that, but I even feel like Tom Holland is too big now. I hate to say that. I kind of want somebody that's a little less known. Though I
Yeah,
know I'm saying I
he's
know I'm
also.
saying John Goodman for John Silver, but I feel
I
like
But I feel like in a movie
uh,
like that, you kind of have to punch a bigger star for the role of John Silver, but it actually
oh,
opens you up to find a younger up and coming person for Jim.
exactly. And I'll say this: I did see something a while back, a rumor, and I'm gonna say this is a rumor. This is a rumor. This is a rumor. Jordan, you know how I feel about rumors, unless it comes from an official source, which I'll talk about something in a second. I forgot something. Um,
Oh, hi.
I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna go back to that in just a second, but I can talk about that with Disney. Did you see what I typed?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Because this makes me think about this. When I hear it from an official source, then I'll believe it. But the thing that I was reading was that Dwayne the Rock Johnson wanted to do a live action Treasure Planet, and he wanted to play John Silver. And as much as I love going and watching the Rock's films,
That's
I
not a
don't
good
see him
fit.
in that role.
That's not a good
Hmm?
fit. That's
No,
not a
I
good
don't
fit.
think so.
And that's actually
I
something we're going to
really.
talk about with something I typed a moment ago. But
Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Oh, I get what you typed L.A. and I was very confused, but I get you. I get you. Um, but then yeah. So and then the thing that I just typed was back in spoiler free. Since we're on Disney subject, the thing that I'm talking about, like, oh, finding out this is just funny. Princess Diaries 3. I like the Princess Diaries movies. I do.
I think
I don't care who
was
knows that.
it our last episode or one of the other episodes we did that you got mad at me when I told you I haven't seen the second one?
Yeah, that was it. It was definitely that,
Still haven't.
and not a personal conversation. Anyway, me talking about finding it from an official source, I was scrolling on, get this, TikTok. I was scrolling through TikTok and I found somebody saying, oh, they're going to make a third one. And me being me, I was like, okay, I'm excited, but at the same time, I want to put off my belief until I get it from an official source. And
Mhm.
I'm not even joking. I scrolled two videos to apparently Anne Hathaway's official TikTok page and her telling her fan base that there's a third one. And my reaction was immediately, oh, that's official enough. And yeah, so now I'm very excited about this. People are so confused when I tell them I love these movies, but because technically they're MCU. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I love that fact that it's so stupid, but it's also so amazing. That no, they're not actually. For those wondering, Stan Lee had a cameo, I think, in the first one or in the second one or something. I don't know, but he had a cameo in one of them, and so people would, no, it's the official MCU because of all of his cameos. And I'm like, no, okay, guys, it's funny. Which to me, if they, I wish I'm at this point right now that like if they make any sort of comment about the snap, like I would love it if they made a comment about like, yeah, some of their like citizens just disappeared one day and then they came back randomly another day. That would be the funniest thing on planet Earth to me if they just nonchalantly mentioned that or mentioned something to that degree. Or maybe they had a few seasons of bad Paris because it seemed like half their trees disappeared or something stupid like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm losing you on my
Oh,
rant. I'm sorry. Um, but back to the other stuff. Avatar: Fire and Ash. I've seen some really cool images, some really cool artist renditions and stuff, and I'm seeing some really cool things about potential story tidbits, which surprised me because it looks like the new tribe likes guns a
oh
lot.
snap.
They are a war tribe, from what it looks like, and they have flying ships and everything.
I think I did see a little snippet that James Cameron said something about there's gonna be two tribes introduced in this,
Oh,
and that one is more of a warrior tribe, and the other one is more of a peaceful kind of tribe.
yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I
Well, that makes
remember
me
seeing something
excited.
like that.
Well, I won't spend too much time on that because that's. I'm just super pumped about that. That comes out next year.
Are you pumped about this next one?
No, not even slightly. I've not seen the fourth one. I do not care to.
And of course, we were talking about Toy Story 5.
I could not care less, but I figured put it here for those that do care. Um, do you remember the potential storyline from this? Like one of them?
Uh, I remember it being like there's a thing about they're having to deal with their child getting relying on electronics,
Mm,
and there was something about like an army of evil Buzz toys.
yeah. So one of the pictures that they released in Brazil was actually like um an image of the army. It turns out to be like a truck that got on its side or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Oh
It was
snap!
just like a crate of them, and the crate was open, and you just see them kind of walking out. And you're just like, oh, okay, this might be a recall situation.
Oh
Which to
snap!
me, that would be even funnier if these guys are coming off a recall truck of Bud Lightyear toys,
That would be
and
really
that's
fun.
why they're the
Really funny.
evil version. Um, but yeah, and then there's also Ice Age. You see this? Ice
So
Age 6
this is the first
has
thing
been
I
announced.
saw, and I didn't know D23 Brazil was happening when this happened, but I saw on socials that Ice Age 6 was confirmed, and I'm like, okay.
Why are people so excited about I don't get it. I don't think I've watched but the first one, maybe the second one.
I will say
I
that
don't
I don't know
get
if
it.
I've seen. I think I've seen the first four, and
Oh
I don't
wow.
know. Are
Okay.
they counting when they say Ice Age
Don't
6? It's not counting the spinoff movie, right? The
I
Adventures of
don't
Buck
know.
Wild.
Let me
I haven't seen
I
that.
genuinely
Um,
I'm gonna have to look up so I'm seeing oh gee willikers. Okay. I'm seeing Ice Age Collision Course, Meltdown, Continental Drift, Dawn of Dinosaurs.
I don't think those are in the right order.
No, they're not. They're very much not. In order, it looks like it's
Ice Age,
Ice
The Meltdown,
Age,
Dawn of
The
Dinosaurs,
Meltdown,
Continental Drift, Collision Course, Ice Age 6. So this is not even
Buck
counting the
Wild,
spinoff movie.
or like
Um,
the kids.
So I've seen the first 4. I have not seen the 5th one. They are actually pretty decent movies, but like I feel like it's been 10 years since the last one. Like, are we
Yeah.
still interested? Do we have a good enough story to do this? I also I don't want to make this I don't want to say this is probably the reason why. Um they announced it at D23 Brazil is because if you look at the box office numbers for the Ice Age movies, they are heavily
English.
internationally funded. To
Okay.
say that they
That
are
might be what
heavily,
it is.
they make a decent amount in the States, but everywhere else they are a huge.
Yeah.
They
So
are
that
the
makes
venom of the animated movie world. They are
so
the
then that makes sense why they
Transformers
waited until
of
past
the
that.
of the animated movie world.
Oh no. We're gonna get 47 of them is what you're saying. Um okay. I don't know anything about it, so like I lost interest after like the third one, I think, if I even got to that point. I don't remember even getting to that point. So I'm
They're
gonna
fun movies, which is why
no,
when they announced
yeah,
it, I wasn't mad. I was just like,
okay.
okay, okay, I'll see it.
I wasn't mad, but I was like, I don't care. Like
Yeah,
that was just my
I
immediate reaction was all right.
yeah, I'm like,
But
I'll probably see it, but I was like, okay, this is interesting. Okay.
so let me say this. The next two things though, we'll go over them real quick because we don't have a lot of information about either one of them.
At this time, I think we should be getting
At
info
this
on
point,
the second one fairly soon.
I hope so. I definitely hope so if it's coming out in February. Mandalorian and Grogu hitting theaters in 2026, which is a little disappointing because it's so far away. But they're still
Yeah,
only concept images, so that's something. And then Andor season 2. Now, this is something
debuts
I
in
really wasn't really.
April,
Oh, it's
not
April.
February. April. I just looked it
My
up.
bad. Well, I'm glad you did. I'd have been going around wrong, and come around February, I'd have been mad. Um, I apologize for all my coughing, folks listening, because when I'm saying I'm not feeling good, allergy season is in full swing. Um, but let me ask you this: how that information that I texted you about the length? It's 8 episodes, right? And is it every or 9 episodes
Yeah,
or something like? It's a weird number. It's like an odd number of episodes because it's divisible by three. And I remember this because every 3 episodes, I think it was, is a year of his life. Which I
yeah,
heard they wanted to do that with the third season,
yep.
but I know that the guy that plays Cassian Andor, Diego Luna, he wanted out. Like he's ready to be done with the character. So that's what makes me think they like went ahead and like, okay, we'll make season 2 the last. Um,
I think that's part of it.
but and then there was some other stuff going on that you think of as well, right? What was
Yeah,
that?
I have a feeling because I know that the viewership numbers early, like on drop, were not great for Andor, and I think they'd already greenlit 2 seasons, and they had the third one as an option. I think. Um,
Yeah.
and I think with them already greenlighting it, I think Disney, the studio, was like, no. So let's just go ahead and wrap this up in another season, which actually really bummed me because I loved that first season.
It's so good.
And
I'll say
the,
that some of it was so good. There were some that I did not like. I'll admit that.
yeah, but I, I feel like level keeping. Oh, my brain is starting to fall apart. Um, leaving each story arc in the show to exclusively 3 episodes, I think worries me.
Well, see, that's the thing too. Is are they gonna do that?
Didn't you say
Because the
they?
way that all I said was 3 episodes or a year in his life. So
Well,
what if the first episode? Hang on. What if the first episode's 4 months? The second episode is 4 months. The third episode is 4-ish months.
see, that
And then
concept scares me even more.
all I mean by that is instead of having him in one place for a very short period of time, we could very much have an episode arc where it's 4 or 5 episodes because he spends a year doing something. Because these are rebels. Like, they're gonna be hiding. So it could be that he's biding his time to a certain huge moment of impact. And I feel like we have that ability. Like you, I'm a little nervous, but I'm trying to be extremely optimistic about this.
Okay, I'm still excited
Because
for it because I love Rogue One. I love this character. I know that we meet another character in this season that I know we both love. Um, with K2SO.
yeah, the best,
Um,
absolute best.
I know that they said originally, and this is probably still going to be the case, but sped up. That originally the series was going to end right where we meet up with Cassian in Rogue One. So I feel like probably the last moments we see of that show is probably when he's meeting up with that guy on that planet that he shoots.
That'd be really funny if that's exactly where it ends. Like the blaster goes off and the camera cuts. That'd be so funny to me.
Yeah, because I remember them saying when they announced the show that they were gonna they're gonna tell the story over a period of time, and I think originally it was 3 years. Um, and that the series would get us to where we see Andor in Rogue One. I don't know if that's a story like character wise or if like legit we're gonna see him walk around the corner meeting that nervous rebel that he shoots, and he turns his head and it cuts. It's all the thing that makes that really funny though. If that is the case, that is how Rogue One ends.
That's why I would absolutely love it.
Because that literally ends with us running right into the beginning of A New Hope. And the absolute coolest scene in Star Wars.
I just had a thought though. I'm gonna say this. I'm trying to remember where I saw the timeline thing about Andor. Because if I didn't see that from an official source, or I saw that from somebody, and I'm going to tell you this, I don't speak Portuguese. I don't know Portuguese or anything like that. What makes me curious is if whoever was listening to that thing go down, listening to the whole, um, or what is it called? Panel.
Mhm.
Watching the panel. What if they're the ones that did quote the math and said, okay, it's going to be 3 episodes a year? What if, in fact, we don't know? Like, we know it's going to take place over the course of 4 years, but we don't know for sure if it's literally going to be 3 episodes for an arc. It could be 4 or 5 episodes for an arc. And then the last few episodes have their own arcs within them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it could very much be just that we don't
Yeah.
know for sure.
Yep. I guess we'll find out more in mid-April. I also just realized April's gonna get crazy because around the time this starts, I'm fairly certain Daredevil Born Again ends
When does Daredevil Born Again start?
March 4th. I'm sorry, March 4th.
All right. So, well, interesting. That means that our April episode is going to be stacked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because wait, X-Men season 2, have they announced that yet?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I think they announced it's happening. They don't have a date on it.
I feel like next year, just in general, our episodes, at least at the beginning of the year, are going to be stacked because we've got there's a movie that comes out in February,
Did I tell you
I think. Oh,
that I,
Captain America.
yes, but I was talking to some people and I don't remember if I told you this that that starting in September when Agatha All Along started
Mm-hmm.
to next December, we have 3 months that don't have a Marvel release in it. And if you want to be technical, it's less than that because November technically didn't have anything. But Deadpool and Wolverine comes on Disney Plus tomorrow. So some people are counting that as like a Marvel release. But like the way it's looking, there's with the way the show's gonna cross over into months, there's gonna be like 2 months next year we don't have Marvel content.
Next year's
Most of
gonna be
which, if not all of which, I
absolutely
am actually very excited for.
well. You already know what I'm excited for next year in
You're
the
excited to see
Marvel.
some Shields?
Yes, my obsession with Shields is
Actually,
going to become.
before we talk about Marvel, I want to talk about that last thing I added because I think talking about Marvel is going to transition us to trailers and tidbits a little easier.
Yes, the other thing.
Because the thing I typed that he told me to put up in here was that was it just the image of Stitch from the live action Lilo and Stitch?
That's all I've seen was him wearing a lei on a bed.
That's what I've seen too, and he is so stinking cute.
I was so surprised. I was genuinely surprised at how good it looks.
Now, granted,
Um,
I think they've wrapped filming, so it's all
yeah, now it's in the
visual
hands of
effects
the
and
editor.
post production work at this point. But at least we know that because that comes out next year, and I'm hoping I'm typing it in right now.
Oh, checking the date. Isn't
Go
it like May
away,
14th, something like
advertisements.
that? Don't you just
Expected in
love
May.
that?
It's expected in May.
Oh,
But
so
I
we
don't
don't
think
know
there's a
yet.
date on it yet.
Okay,
Um,
which is
he
actually
looks
kind of
so cute,
surprising. Yeah,
and I've seen the I remember when they cast the little girl that is playing Lilo, and I feel like she's a really good casting.
I feel like I saw some of them, and I know that one character got recast almost immediately.
I did see that May 23rd.
Oh, that is so much sooner than I expected.
Well, Disney likes to release their big movies in May, right at the beginning of
Yeah,
summer.
no,
Um,
I'm so excited about that movie though. Like, I'm genuinely like. I'll be honest. I've never been the over the top Lilo and Stitch person. Like when
mhm.
I go to Disney, I don't buy all like the Stitch merchandise. Like I don't because I feel like it's overdone. Everybody buys it. However, this might be something that I buy something from if I love it, which I have a feeling I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious how they're gonna adapt some of the stuff into live action. Like, what is Jumba gonna look like
Oh,
if
I
they
didn't even
made
think about
Stitch
that, dude.
more
Completely.
realistic? Pleakley is gonna be terrifying. This movie's rating is gonna jump up to R just because of Pleakley.
for
I'm just gonna sit no.
for terrifying images.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Um,
uh,
but that was a really cool
um,
announcement. And then they actually,
I know the one thing I was worried about though when they announced
yeah,
this early last year or late last year before they started filming was I'm like I feel like it's too soon to be redoing this. First movie came out in 2002, so it's been like 22 years, and that makes me feel old. Um, I watched the first one in theaters. So, but looking at it, if they give me a good reason for it to be, I think I'll be more okay with it. This thing I just said, it's gonna come back later. Something we'll talk about in trailers and tidbits.
yes, I'm gonna
Uh,
definitely need your information on that.
okay. Now let's start talking about Marvel because they showed some stuff from Marvel, some of which, if not all of which, no, not all of it, because I know I have seen some things that are not on this list. We talked about, but some of which was released to the public. I know we got the Captain America: Brave New World trailer, which dropped I think a couple days after.
This is a new trailer.
It is a new trailer. It's like the official trailer. And we got a special look, not a new trailer, a special look at Thunderbolts. We just got the
Yeah,
trailer for What If Season 3 today, but it was shown at D23 Brazil. I know they got looks at Fantastic Four there as well. but we have not had
pretty
anything
hard.
officially released from that yet.
I did find out that they are finished. It sounds like they're going to be finished wrapping principal photography in a couple weeks.
I did see that, yeah. That Kevin Feige said they are very close to wrapping principal photography, which leaves them all of 8 months for post production, and I applaud because they usually give them a little bit less than that. um, but I guess I'm going to start talking about what we have seen. I know you were very excited for that Thunderbolts trailer we got.
Yes, with my obsession with superheroes with shields for some reason, like Captain America, I love all the iterations of Captain America. Don't get me wrong. Steve Rogers is my favorite because he's the one that I've been able to identify with the most. Um, but I love seeing Sam in the role, and I love seeing out of the comics other characters as well. And I love seeing in the MCU specifically other characters getting to use the shields or getting to use the shield. And I think it's the greatest thing ever. And now we're getting US Agent, which honestly is gonna be interesting because and even like Red Guardian, I think US Agent is gonna be interesting because I'm gonna tell you straight up, looking at the first trailer that came out and then looking at that trailer yesterday, day before yesterday, whenever it was released, I was very interested by one very specific thing that he was doing. He was slouching. I don't know if you ever noticed.
I did not
He
pick
is
up
a
on that.
he is a defeated man because he was essentially kicked out of the role of Captain America. He was
And they
Captain
did,
America
and they
for
did
all
jab
of
him.
like a month. They did,
Yeah.
and you can see like the look on his face of defeat for like a half a second before Bob shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this, and he's got the beard because he doesn't care anymore. And I feel like we're actually going to have, because at the end of, what was it? Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think. Was that it? Yeah. Well, at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, you see him be ripped of his rank, essentially, and kicked out of the military. But by this point, he already had the serum flowing through his veins. Am I remembering correctly when I say that he had a broken arm in the end of the show?
He did at one point, but I think it healed by the end.
To
Because
me,
he
that's
did,
his body still has not adapted to the serum yet.
because
Sort of
didn't he, when he had his court
ish.
case, he had it was in a
He had
sling,
it
right?
there,
Because
and I'm
didn't they
wondering if
break
he
his
was
arm
also
to get
just
the
trying to
shield?
milk that. Yeah, no, he gave it to them.
I think we're thinking about two different moments in the show.
Oh well, then maybe
Remember the fight in the
it's been
warehouse?
so long since watching it. Yeah. They took it from him there, yeah, and I think they did break it, and so it was broken for a while. But I'm also wondering if he just because then when he made his own and he was fighting, he didn't have one.
Yeah, because as I say, at the very end when he came out in the U.S. agent outfit, he did not have a sling.
So it makes me think that he put on the sling to like milk it a little bit
That's possible.
to be like, I got injured in the line of duty. Feel bad for me, which kind of works in his character. And then finding out that they didn't take it, that's when he gave up on the sling. But even like when he's putting on that U.S. agent outfit at the beginning or at the end, he very much still has his wits about him and stuff like that. But I feel like at some point before Thunderbolts, he's essentially been ripped of his mentality, if that makes sense. Maybe like, and I don't want to jinx it, I don't want to guess it, but potentially like loses his wife leaves him or something like that.
Well, snap, yeah.
So he doesn't feel as like attached to it anymore. And now he's doing it because it's something to do, not so much because he wants to do it. Which
Yeah.
I've read a couple of comics of US Agent, and he has that mentality in the ones that I've read. He's always drinking. He can get drunk too in the comics
Mm-hmm.
because his serum isn't as powerful as the Steve Rogers one. And so he's like half the time he's either drinking or drunk or like buzzed. Because I don't know if he can get drunk, but I think he can get buzzed. And so he's like doing all that stuff. So I'm interested to see what they do to develop the character. Because even with his shield, you look at his shield, and he's just kind of holding it. He's not holding it up like Captain America. He's just kind of holding it so it doesn't hit the floor while he's firing. Literally, while he's firing his gun, his arm is just drooped. Because to me, it's almost like he doesn't even have a will to live at this point. He doesn't care. If somebody shoots him and kills him, great. He doesn't have to deal with this crap anymore, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, and then when he's introduced to Bob, I think he raises the shield. Because he doesn't want Bob to kill him because Bob has no shoes on. That would be embarrassing. Now, granted, this is stuff that I'm putting into the words in these guys' mouths through 2 trailers. So we'll see how close I am when the movie comes out. But I'm really looking forward to that. Honestly, I play Fortnite. I'm hoping we get skins in Fortnite. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I want them to do that. But
I'll also
and then there
say,
was,
hold up. I'll also say that this Thunderbolts, this little clip, and the little bit we got after that, had made me more excited for the movie than the original trailer.
Same, which is a long, huge thing. Now, I want to ask you this.
It was cool to see Bucky be cool again. Now, Bucky's cool in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but long hair Bucky is just another level of cool. When he flips that truck with the chain, I'm like, heck yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
About I'm going to ask you a question about Thunderbolts real quick. Should I mention my theory behind the asterisk?
You had a theory,
right now,
and I had a theory.
Podcast. So, what was your theory?
My theory was that Thunderbolts is the name of the crew they were on when they were doing contract stuff for Val, and then they're leaving that, so they can't call themselves that anymore, but Alexi doesn't want to stop saying it.
Yeah.
From that little clip where Bucky's like, we can't call ourselves that. And then it comes back and the asterisk pops up. That's what I think happens. You have a much more detailed.
Not really. My theory was simply like, we are the Thunderbolts, like him saying that. And then, because I thought the line was, I thought it cut to Bucky. Bucky said, we're not calling ourselves that. Not we can't. I don't remember for sure. We'll have to check that later. Because if the line is, we're not calling ourselves that, to me, that lends to it's a working title. So I can fully picture Alexi or Red Guardian screaming something about Thunderbolts in heavy, thick Russian accents. Or in a heavy, thick Russian accent. Screaming, let's go Thunderbolts! And somebody looking at him funny and goes, he's a working title. Or title is work in progress. And then he just takes off running.
Yeah.
To me, that's what lends to that. Because I think that would be so flipping funny. Because I want them to be called the Thunderbolts because I love the name. Though I do understand that the name has some oddities with it. Now, I will say this as well, though. Knowing that Captain America is coming first, and knowing that Thunderbolt Ross. So, can I talk about Captain America?
Yes,
now?
go ahead.
Okay, sorry, because this leans into this. With Captain America: Brave New World, there's a line in the trailer, one of the trailers, where he looks at Sam and says, "I want to rebuild the Avengers." And I know that the Thunderbolts worked for, what's her name again?
For Val?
Yeah, for Val.
For Valentina?
Yeah, for Valentina. So I know that they worked for her, but what if this was her attempt to get him what he wanted and get her department under the, like, as high as she can get in the country and get the ear
Dark
of
Avengers?
The Dark, what do you mean?
Well,
It's something to that degree.
I had a theory a while back that the asterisk was put there because they're originally called the Thunderbolts, but then it was going to come out that they're actually the Dark Avengers, and with them being in the Avengers Tower now, that'd make that even more symbolic. They did confirm that in the trailer that they are standing in Avengers Tower
I
for
think
Thunderbolts.
that whole I think that whole thing is going to be so interesting to see. But I feel like we're going to get some information from Captain America: Brave New World
Yeah.
for this.
Also, can we talk about? We're talking about this. This trailer for Brave New World is so good. It really sells how intense of a movie this is going to be, as in like a tone sense. Like, and it's going to have a really intense tone, very similar to Winter Soldier. But there are moments in that trailer that just look awesome. Sam cutting the car in half,
Amazing.
and there's a little tiny little bit, and I didn't even notice it until I watched it again. That shows that we're getting all. I guess we're getting all the Red Hulk powers because after Ross hulks out, he puts his hand on the rug of the stage he's on, and the rug starts to burn. Because there's
Ooh.
the power that Red Hulk has. The angrier he gets, the hotter he gets, and he can like really Hulk out and like explode.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of all I really had for those things because the,
that's right.
the
I got
the
two.
the the trailer.
Yeah,
I don't
one
know.
at season
Like
3
I'm
looks
just
good.
so.
I don't know how much I can say about it except for Storm holding Mjolnir is awesome.
That's gonna be so. I like
Um,
that and then the mech episode
oh yeah, and they
where
said the thing. I told you that'd probably be a trailer moment.
Avenger Assemble. Oh my word. Oh my word. Okay. So that I'm just looking forward to. I don't really want to talk too much about that because there's so much like up in the air about that. The fact that it's only 8 episodes, it comes out starting December 22nd. We can talk about it in our January episode.
We can. I'm excited to see if they do like they did last year with a daily drop for like a week, or if they're going to do weekly drops or a one whole drop. I mean,
I think that they talked about already doing daily drops again because it
I
worked
might have
last
missed that
time.
part. I might have missed that part. But
I might have overlooked it, or I might have accidentally made it up in my head.
yeah.
But
There's one other Marvel thing you want to talk about.
yeah, just to mention it, Marvel Rivals. I've mentioned it in like 3 episodes now. Just because Marvel Rivals is already like insane. It comes out in less than a month, and they're still announcing new characters. Like I think yesterday or the day before, possibly at D23 in Brazil, they announced Moon Knight is going to be added to the game on launch.
Yeah. Did you see
So
Star
that's
Lord?
insane. I played Star Lord
Oh,
back during the beta.
somebody sent me a thing a moment ago that said Marvel Rivals and it was Star Lord. I don't know if it was a new thing.
I don't think so because I did play as him during that. But that's kind of all I really wanted to mention about that. Now, there's a few other things that we had, but I kind of want to skip because I can't get this out of my mind. Let me see if I can find.
I don't
Here we
even
go.
know what that one thing is up here.
That. What thing?
I don't even know what that is.
What? That's Love Hurts. So go to IMDb. You're gonna hate yourself in a minute.
Watch this be something I
Well,
actually did know about that my brain's like,
yeah, probably because
oh yes.
yeah.
I watched
See,
the trailer for this. We talked about
yeah,
this
with
with
I'm
Kihan
not
Kwan.
pronouncing it right. Okay, hold on. I can't say it.
Yeah, Kihan
That guy.
Kwan and Ariana DeBois. That's right. Yes, we talked about this. It looks really good. Comes out in
And it
February.
also has Marshawn Lynch in it, which look to me that's the funniest part about this thing. But and then I'm so looking forward to that. And then of course I'll mention it again just in passing. Red One. It's gonna
I
be on the
think
forefront of my
I
special.
made you mad because I told you that there was a chance I could have saw it yesterday.
Yeah, you very
It
much
comes
did.
out this weekend, right?
It does on Thursday, and I'm going
Oh,
on Sunday to watch it.
Well, I can't wait to talk about it
Because
next month.
oh no,
Where do we go next?
we're talking about it during the Christmas special. I'm gonna tell you that right now because
Yep,
I'm
yep,
gonna dress the part and I'm going to see this. I don't care. I think it's Christmas. I do what I
yep,
want.
yep. There you go. We got
I
a
do.
trailer for Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, which looks really good.
Yeah,
Trailers for Mission Impossible movies always look good.
they
It
do.
being the final
I'm
one,
nervous.
I'm nervous too.
And it is interesting
Um,
because I did mention this to my brother the other day. Um, with the last movie, I don't know if you noticed this, but when it came out, it was called Dead Reckoning Part One.
it was.
By the time it hit streaming services, they removed Part One from everything except the like posters because they couldn't.
Yep, yep.
And any physical copies that were already like coming out already said like Part One on all of the covers and everything like that. So it's
And I
so
remember us
funny to
talking
me.
about that when we talked about the movie a few episodes ago, and we said that the fact they dropped part one makes it think it was going to be a retitle for the sequel, and here we are.
Mhm.
Final
Final
Reckoning.
Reckoning. Now, I'm curious because some of the dialogue makes it sound like this is the last Mission Impossible.
I think it very well could be.
I'm wondering if Tom Cruise is finally like, I think I'm done with this character.
I don't think
Now,
Tom is as much as the studios are.
that could be it, and it could be that Tom is ready to pass the torch.
That
And
could be a thing too.
I personally think that would be a really good idea. I think that continuing the Mission Impossible series or a franchise, but with a fresh face,
Yeah.
fresh stories to tell, fresh face. But you know how I feel about the Mission Impossible franchise? They've gotten to like conspiracy based for me
Right, right.
because there's even like there's so many conspiracies that like are in real life, and they just make me mad because so many people just have no. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to get into that because that's a whole thing in of itself.
Oh yeah, the
Now,
computers would melt before we can get that done.
I did want to mention real quick. This will take me just a second because you didn't know anything about this. The Chosen verse or Biblioverse, the Bible verse. The Chosen is like the producers are creating. Um, they've created their own production company, and they're coming up with the Chosen Adventures, which is an animated show. Follows like a 7 or 8 year old girl who meets Jesus, and it's her like point of view.
Hmm.
The Chosen in the Wild with Bear Grylls. I found out a couple weeks ago that couple months ago, Bear Grylls is a Christian. Did not know that until I found out he baptized or he helped baptize um that dude's name that I can't think of. Oh my gosh. There's a guy that was known for his party theme. He was married to Katy Perry.
Oh,
He did every drug in the known universe.
Russell Brand.
Yes. And I've seen him flip 180.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. But this is going to be The Chosen in the Wild is him taking the actors and actresses from The Chosen, taking them into the wild, and them talking about the Bible and about their characters and how they're portraying them and stuff like that. And then apparently they're doing a limited run series called The Book of Moses and a limited run series about Joseph. And this is like just the beginning. So, but at this point, you typed something that I'm going to let you talk about for a second because I'm curious
Okay, so
about some of this stuff.
we both know that in like very soon, Moana 2 comes out. Very soon. I think it's this month. The sequel to
Yes.
Moana comes out. It and one of the things I said about Lilo and Stitch is it too soon to make a live action remake? Before Moana 2 even releases, they are currently in pre-production of the Moana live action series because I have seen them creating the boats.
I
There's
don't know how to
there's
feel about
there's photos of the boats being made. And the thing is, I don't know if they've pivoted from this yet. I don't think they did because they talked about it at D23 in August that The Rock will be reprising his role as Maui in that movie. And I said then, I say now, The Rock works for the voice of Maui. The Rock does not work for the look of Maui.
Yeah, I'm worried about
That's what I
that.
had to say. But
Now,
it really bugs me that the sequel's not even out yet, and we are
yeah,
currently working on pre-production for the live action movie. Is it too soon? Yes. Should they make it? Until I watch it and it proves me otherwise, I'm gonna say no. I love Moana.
On that note, let me say this. I'm gonna let you talk about Agatha for a minute.
Yes,
I want you to tell me about that. I don't know anything about it.
You don't do horror. So
no,
you did not watch Agatha. Because you did ask me at one point, like, how scary is it? I'm like, it's got moments, it's scary. The horror is there. They wrapped up the show. I liked it a lot. I like some episodes more than others. I'm not a huge fan of episode 5. I think it's 5. There's an episode that when it was done, I literally told my brother that I felt like I just watched last week's Previously On, or next week's Previously On, because they ran through it so fast that I felt like they just gave me the tidbits of what I needed to know.
They gave you the shock and awe.
Yeah, so it literally felt like I watched the next week's Previously On. That being said, I liked what they did with it. It's a really fun show. Even with most of the cast dying.
Didn't know that. Interesting.
Well, we're in spoilers, so yeah, a lot of the Agatha's Coven.
That was funny.
Yeah, a lot of Agatha's Coven that started the adventures on the Witch's Road do not make it to the end of the road. But there's a really interesting, and you don't care if I spoil this, right?
Not even a little bit.
Okay, so the show takes place as they're making their way down the Witch's Road, which is like you do these trials, you bring witches of each type to go down the road, and at the end you get a gift, like a wish, which is why I told you it's like D&D. You get your group together, you go on your mission, and each person has a mission. Each trial is dedicated to a certain kind of witch, and but at the end, once they finish the thing, it's revealed that the Witch's Road never existed. It's something that Agatha created back in the 1600s that she could use to sap the power from the other witches, like she did in WandaVision. So the Witch's Road did not exist. She gaslit an entire group of people for centuries to think this thing was real. And then we meet Teen. His name is that the thing is Teen, because for a big part of it is that there's a spell on him that he can't reveal his identity. We meet Teen, who wants to go down the Witch's Road, and Agatha to take them. They get the people together, and surprisingly, the road opens. Even Agatha, at the end, you're like, oh, this is not supposed to happen. It doesn't exist. Turns out, Teen is Billy Kaplan, who is Billy Maximoff, Wanda's kid.
Whoa.
He's Wiccan. He has her powers. And Wiccan, inadvertently, didn't know he did it, created a hex to make the Witch's Road. And at the end, he gets his memories back. He finds out that he is Billy Maximoff. He's when he faded away in the hex, when the hex in WandaVision went down, his essence, his soul, went into the body of a kid who just died. Billy Kaplan. He was in a car crash. He died in the car crash right when the hex was coming down. So Billy Maximoff's soul is now residing in Billy Kaplan's body. And he went on the Witch's Road because he wanted to find his brother, Tommy, who he's Speed in the comics. We find out that essentially Billy willed it to where for 3 years Tommy's essence and soul has just been wandering, and then they kind of hinted that he found a body, that Billy helped him find his body. So the next, whatever they do next, I think is going to be them looking for Tommy. Because in it, Agatha dies. Because Aubrey Plaza's character is revealed to be Death. Like Lady Death. Like from the comics. Which, having her in the fold now opens up so many really fun possibilities. Because in the comics, Deadpool dates Lady Death. And I'm like, oh, I want Aubrey Plaza and Ryan Reynolds to play a couple as Deadpool and Lady Death. That needs to happen. But essentially, Agatha sacrifices herself to save Billy because Lady Death says, "I need one of you. One of you have escaped me for a long time. One of you, I need one of you." She sacrifices herself for Billy, and but she comes back as a ghost. And in the comics, Agatha does come back as a ghost to act as a teacher slash guide for Wanda. But it seems like now they're doing this for Billy, and she's going to help him find Tommy. I don't know if that's going to be a season 2 of the show or if there's another thing they're going to do for that. But that's essentially how the show ends.
That sounds like a spinoff coming.
It does. It does. Instead of
And
having to be
this
called
actually
Agatha
lends
all
into-
along, it could be called Billy all along or Wiccan all along because his name is Wiccan in the comics.
Well, let me say this real quick. Just a tidbit. I did find out that apparently Kevin Feige was quoted at D23 Brazil saying that Scarlet Witch is coming back. They're just figuring out how to bring her back. So this could be an avenue.
It could be. It could be.
The reunion of the kids and then them finding Scarlet.
Yeah. It could be. There's the one little issue. I love how the show ends because they did a 2-episode finale, so they played the 2 episodes dropped. The way it's set up, because there's not a post-credit scene at the end of the last episode, but I told a friend of mine, it's like, no, that last episode is a post-credit scene. Because the episode before, episode 8, ends with like the big climactic CGI battle, and them winning, and Agatha dying, and then him going back to his room and seeing all the things in his room with like the Wizard of Oz toys and some of the things you see on the road, and he figures out that it was him that did it, and they hint at like the whisper behind him of like Agatha as a ghost, but they didn't show her. And then the next episode started, and I'm like, I feel like if they could have ended that show like that, but they added this next episode in as like a very long post-credit scene.
Whoa. Interesting.
But overall, I really did enjoy the show. I really did enjoy the show. And you said you want to talk a little bit more about Argyle and spoiler.
We've only got a couple minutes, but I do want to mention, I wanted to ask. So you asked me which of the, what was it? The twists that I saw coming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the big one, her being
Argyle.
Yeah, her being Argyle. I was like, that one's kind of obvious from the beginning, but like the revelation that Bryan Cranston's character is her quote dad unquote, and I went, oh
yeah,
didn't know where that came out of left field to me, and then just the realization that the mom unquote quote unquote is a British accented agent. That threw me off. So, and then it was just like went downhill, but it was just like one twist after another after another. I'm like, when is this like NASCAR? It's just a bunch of left turns and you end up back in the same place. Like I don't. And then it was like, just a little overwhelming. And then you're like, okay, cool. We've hit a point wherein this is normal now. And then another twist. You're like, nope, that's left field. And then another twist.
Is it the one where she's brainwashed?
Yeah, and she's fighting and turning the thing off.
Yeah, I feel like that last plot twist. This is where my qualm comes in. That last plot twist was not really important for the story.
No.
And I feel like having that plot twist and everything coming after it made the movie feel really long. Like, towards the end of that movie, the pacing kind of starts messing up and it starts to feel lengthy.
Now, I do appreciate the final twist, though. Her, like, friend being alive.
Oh, yeah.
And then who do you think sent in that thing about the heart arteries? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's actually awesome.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. What did you think about the twist that this was essentially in the Kingsman universe? Did you watch the post-credit scene? Are you still there? Did you miss
Oh,
that part?
oh boy. Okay.
Go back
Let's
and
see.
watch.
I
There's
got
a
something to
post-credit.
do.
There's a post-credit scene.
That makes so much make sense.
Because they're both directed by Matthew
Oh,
Vaughn,
my head
and
hurts. Okay.
Matthew Vaughn's production company did help on this too, which is why they can talk about both. And there's a post credit scene flashback where you see Henry Cavill's Argyle in a bar, and it's a Kingsman thing. It's got the logo on it and everything.
I just remember Henry Cavill standing up and going, "I bet you've got a lot of questions for me." That shit makes sense. I'm sorry. Because he's speaking with a country accent in that last shot of him within the actual movie.
Yeah,
Oh, my brain hurts. I know what I'm doing when we're not
the
recording.
one in the bar. You're talking about that scene in the bar, right?
No. I'm talking about the scene when they're in the like bookstore and she's
Oh
reading
yeah,
the final thing and she closes it and people have questions. He stands up and goes, I don't have any questions for you, but I'm pretty sure you got questions for me." And like everybody, like I just remember going, "What?" and freaking out and stuff. Um, but so
but
that's
yeah.
exciting.
There's a post credit scene that I think you should go watch.
I'm super pumped about that. I will definitely be doing that in just a few minutes.
Because that's about all we really have to
So
talk about.
yeah, so
Except
cool.
that
That's a fun
all
note
the
to end
action
on.
scenes in Argyle are a lot of fun.
They are so much so.
Some of them
Now
are
I
a
gotta
little
go.
over the top, but they're super fun.
Oh,
The
even
I
like yeah,
the
especially the
skating
over
and the
top stuff.
oil is kind of over the top. But it is
Oh,
fun though.
1,000%. I love the fact that she used daggers to like put on the bottom of her skate, like on the bottom of her shoes, and that's how she skates. Because
Yeah.
these are like military shoes. And also, I love that they did a body swap
Mm-hmm.
where she obviously had a stunt double, but it was like it was obvious, but it wasn't like over the top obvious. But they didn't try to hide it
Yeah.
either, and I love that. I love when
Kind of has
movies
that
like
old school movie feel.
very much so, and that's what leaned into it. And I feel like Kingsman in general have that sort of stuff. And you know my gripes about Kingsman before we even recorded a
Oh yeah.
podcast.
We
We talked
watched
about my gripes.
we watched one of them together.
I think the first one.
The last one, the prequel one,
Oh,
the King's Man.
oh, really? Oh, it's been so long.
Yeah.
Well, on the Kingsman note, we are unfortunately out of time.
Yeah. We're trying to keep to a time limit now for our
Just for
computer and
editing,
recording sake.
I had a lot of trouble recording one of the more recent episodes. I had to like downgrade it a little bit. I don't know if you remember
I do. I think it might have been the Comic Con D23
that.
episode.
Actually, I think it was. You're right.
That was a big boy.
It was. And now we got the Christmas special coming up, which I feel like that's gonna be a two-parter anyway, like you said.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it was fun to finally be able to do this again.
I'm so happy. Even though
Everybody
we're
that's
both
been
not
pestering me
feeling
over
it.
the past few weeks of where the new episode is, hello, we're here.
And yes, we are aware this is a week late. We
And
apologize.
you didn't get our Halloween special. I apologize for
No.
that.
But you're getting a Christmas special.
Who knows? If we run
Please
out
put
of
the cheap
ideas next summer, we might get a midsummer Halloween special. Who knows?
That would be funny as heck.
Halfway to Halloween.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. If we do that in like March
It's possible.
or April?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to tell anybody to hold their breath yet.
No. Because last time we did, we missed it
I got berated
by
so
a
much
lot.
that they hadn't got their Halloween special yet.
I'm sorry. All right. On that note, have a good one, Jordan. Have a
Yeah,
good
you
one,
too,
audience.
man. Thank you for joining
Ugh.
us, everyone, and listening to us talk.
And rant and rant and rant and rant
Bye,
and ramble. All right. Have a good one.
everyone.